The man, the myth, the legend. Derry, back at it again.
Okay, hopefully no one pops in this time, bringing up drama that I don't want to talk about. Okay, so my question is rhetorical based. First off, what do you think of the Zizek
Hey,
versus
I heard you
Jordan
said
B.
you were a
Peterson?
veteran.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, fuck. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's yeah. I'm a vet. Who is that?
Lycan. Just an old soccer
Oh.
friend. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So, what do you think of the Zizek versus Jordan Peterson debate?
I didn't watch it. I thought Peterson was a fucking idiot. I watched Peterson's opening and then I cringed and turned it off.
How do you know what you would consider that type of debate?
What do you mean? What I would consider it?
Like the form of it, the structure.
Oh, I don't know. Is there a name for it?
You could essentially call it an Aristotle type debate, where you have a series of points that you address all at once.
Okay.
That's not your style, right?
Maybe not, but
All right. So I've noticed, and I've been paying careful attention to your style of debates, and it seems like you're in between Rogerian and Toulmin. But I feel like if you could, because you were talking about your rhetoric before and ways to improve it, I think if you have the names for your styles, it'll like better isolate the way that you tackle the problems.
okay.
So Rogerian is the one where, and there's like a 4-step process where you state, hey, I understand this problem. And then you follow it up with how valid their problem could be under certain circumstances. And then you follow that up with how their position can be improved if they consider your position on there. So what that is basically a heuristic approach to what people are thinking. For the level of people that you speak with, I think that's kind of why you've fallen into that style, because it seems to be a more way to like communicate with people that it might be hard to reach. Do you disagree?
Not necessarily. I mean, it's the first time you've given me this idea, but okay. Or the first time I've been presented with this idea, so okay.
So I think what you've been doing, at least up until recently, is like the Toulmin, it's considered, where it's a lot more simply. You have the grounds, then you have a warrant for it, and then you have a claim. Sorry, motorcycle go. Fucking Florida. Everyone's just trying to be the biggest douchebag on the road.
Okay.
Yeah, so Toulmin's basically just, here's the grounds, here's the warrant, here's the claims. The criticism for Rogerian, that's like the newest out of these, is that it can be manipulative and it's hard to use and teach. Those are two hiccups I don't think you have. So I can give you some references for Rogerian, but if you're ever like interested in, hey, how can I really get through to people? I see you struggling sometimes in the way you kind of frame things. I think if you actually can like isolate exactly your approach, it might help a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I'll think about it. Okay.
That's kind of just like one little spiel about that. And I think the reason why like your first visceral reaction to the Zizek versus Jordan Peterson thing is like, oh fuck this, I'll wait till one guy's done speaking and then I'll come back. It's because that's Aristotle type, and that's
Well,
totally
no,
not
I didn't
something
mind the format so much. I just thought Peterson was really fucking out of his depth. I think it was around the time I heard Peterson say that Marxists, or that Marx believes that like all proletariats are good and all capitalists are evil or something, or that all evil comes from. I was like around then. I was like, this is so stupid, and then I turned it off.
Oh yeah, that was like his description of a system that you don't support either. But
well, that was, but
that's,
like that showed like his total misunderstanding, I think, of what.
Right.
Like, and then like him saying things like Marxism or like the neo-Marxism or post-Marxism is literally like taking Marx and then applying it to things without the class struggle, when literally the central point of Marx is that all of history can be understood through class struggle. Like he basically took like the thing that make Marxism and then said, well, if we take this thing out, I don't know. It was just real dumb. It seemed real fucking stupid to me. I don't know why the fuck he thought he could do that debate, but
Did you watch Hassan's analysis of it?
nope.
Okay. I don't bring that up just randomly. I bring that up because what he was able to do was analyze in his communist lens how he viewed the debate. And even him was someone who, it wasn't necessarily a commie debate. It didn't come across heavy-handed. So there was even a point where he like said, hey, I understand the points of this. And I bring that up because there is some substance to being able to look at a half an hour of context of what actually is going through someone's head, and being able to analyze and concrete the points. So basically, it's the difference of here's a tweet. Obviously, you can't get too much out of that. Versus here's 30 minutes of the guy talking, and being responded to. So you get a
Well, yeah, but like Peterson,
idea
I don't disagree with the format, but Peterson didn't do this. Like, he didn't give like 30 minutes of like good analysis. Like, he was totally lost. Like, this was a conversation he was not equipped to have. Like, by his own admission, I think he like was saying, "Oh, I read the Communist Manifesto," and that was like his like fucking prep. Like, I don't even know why you would bring that up, but like, yeah.
Yeah. And he said he spent like, I have one day to get my shit together. I'll be fine.
Yeah, and this debate was like fucking a year in the making or some shit. Like, he was just rambling hard when he was talking. He seemed nervous as fuck too. I don't know if he realized like halfway into his rambling that he had no fucking idea what the fuck he was talking about or what. But
Which I want to say too, like with that video that's posted, I'm walking around right now when I talk, so I'm not nervous or anything.
okay.
But yeah, it's just there's just some merits to it. So I think your visceral reaction to people speaking for a long period of time is kind of like tune out. I don't know if that's like a part of ADHD or whatever, not making assumptions. But there's some merits to it because you can actually like take apart series of context, and so you have a better understanding. So there's pros and cons.
Okay.
And the other thing was, so you aren't a commie, but the distribution of wealth is something that you see a problem with, right?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Okay. Do you know the difference between health span versus lifespan?
Yeah.
Can you elaborate?
I think health span, when people include like your health. Oh wait. Sorry. I think lifespan is typically seen as like the meaning ages for death or whatever, based on how complicated you want to define that. And then health span is like how many years of healthy life you have, where you're considered like mentally cognizant and like physically capable or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty simple concept.
Yeah.
I mentioned those two previous things to talk about something else, which is basically the distribution of gene therapy in the future. So money is already a large disparity in health, but wealth also indicates probably a longer period of living. But with the advent of, even in 2017, there was a $500,000 therapy by Kimria, something like that, that was to help with cancer, and that that therapy was super expensive but super useful, and was also even approved by the FDA to actually go into effect.
Okay.
So the question for thought is kind of the logical conclusion with the developing of gene therapies, that there's going to be even a larger disparity between the health of poor and rich, where rich people will have both their health spans and lifespans drastically larger than those of the poor. So the food for thought is, what in a situation where we have
you basically had another tool to entrench the wealthy more in good society, and then another way to widen the gap between the rich and the poor, right?
Right. So I mean that makes the situation just that much more severe.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know. It's just when people talk about communism and stuff and this and that and improving society, it's like there's this big missing argument, I think, right now, where people aren't discussing how much of a difference it's going to be when you can afford basically maybe living 50% longer.
Well, I think a lot of people have been discussing that. Yeah, I think that's a pretty big point. When people bring up like gene therapy, they talk about like, well, this is just going to be another way that poor people get fucked, basically.
Who has this argument? Maybe
I
just
feel
missed
like
it.
when I hear people bring it up, I feel like this is always like one of the big points that's brought up. I guess I don't have anything specific I can cite. I'd have to go back and look at it. But I mean, the last I listened to was on Sean Carroll's podcast, fucking like episode 9 or some shit. There was a guy that came on to talk about it, and Sean Carroll brought it up, and the guy didn't even want to talk about it. He was so angry. But yeah, Sean Carroll brought it up as like a thing, like, yeah, this is going to be another way that like we widen the gap between the rich and the poor.
Interesting. I read a study this year about kind of the xenotransplantation and such with mice. That's my field. You're gonna have another PhD in the audience eventually.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, that's about it. Those only two things. TC Brady wanted me to tell you he didn't mean to break the combo, so to unmute him.
Nice.
Okay, I don't know. There we go, TC. I did it for you. So I don't know what he thinks of that.
Okay.
Anyway, also 30 as of yesterday. So follow Boomer.
Gotcha. All right. I love you, buddy. Be careful.
Yep. Okay. Bye bye.